culpa. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Petty and Ill-Informed podcast, where we give our petty and ill-informed opinions about various topics. Joining me, as always, from Ireland, Kevo.
Yay! What's going on, everybody?
And from 13 Twycross Place, Kent, Tom.
Yeah, here and ready to go.
That never gets old. And I'm your host, Richard Judas Allen. Let's get on with it. How are you two doing?
Yeah, all well and good, really. I can't complain. We drove up to London yesterday and saw my mum and dad, and we went round a Rainham Marshes bird park. You'd like it, Richard. You know, if you haven't been there already. So my mum went, "Oh, a grey heron," I think it was. I took a picture of it and meant to show you, but I haven't got round to it. But that was really nice. Lovely to see the nieces and chill and chat and have coffee, have some lunch. And oh god, this was a piece of crap though. Went up there in the cafe and the shop place at the RSPB Centre there at Rainham Marshes. It's in the East End of London. This just inside the M25, and we ordered all the lunches. And I said, "Oh, we're just outside," and she went, "Oh, round the corner." I said, "Yep." She said, "Fine," and off I went and sat there. And our food didn't turn up, and I started walking backwards, and I was sort of hovering on the stairs, and a bloke leaned out and went, "Are you waiting for lunch?" I said, "Yes." He went, "We've been shouting your name for 5 minutes." I was like, "Fine, charming, this, isn't it?" And it's all well and good protecting birds, but protecting some basic manners would have been nice too. And went up there and he said, "No, we don't bring it out." And I said, "Well, it would have said perfectly politely, well, it would have been nice to have been told." And he didn't say anything after that. Just grabbed my food, went outside, and it was perfectly delicious. Had some Mexican bean pasty. Yum.
Mexican bean pasty. That actually sounds like something that we should introduce here.
You mean refried beans? What is a Mexican bean?
It was, I don't know. It was all mashed, so it was a paste. To be honest, I'm really not selling it very well.
Refried beans.
Yeah. That sounds like a refried bean in a pasty.
You were right. It was. That's exactly what it would have been. Yeah,
I would imagine that was a little fattening.
Yeah, but it was very, very nice. And I'm one of those lucky sods that never seems to put on an ounce of weight no matter what I eat, because I've got such absurdly high metabolism. Right. It's where my body seems to be built.
Well, it's because you're a vegan, and that's why Richard and I are not spelt. What do you think, Richard? Should we go the full hog and just give it all up?
Become a vegan. Bollocks to that. I'm not participating in the downfall of our civilization.
You had to ask, didn't you, Kevin? The moment those words left your lips, I thought, right.
Well, I'm just saying that sounds positively delicious. But I would say that there was probably, because you've got a short crust and all that stuff, it was probably, cut with a lot of butter. And the refried beans, to be honest, are not necessarily, fat-free is all I'm saying. But I mean, that's fine. Is that, do you find yourself in England now eating a lot of sort of Hispanic or Spanish or Mexican type, foods now? Is that, I always was, it's interesting that food fair has caught on in Britain to me, because I mean, like, who introduces this idea? It's just one of them things where the chefs go rooting around for recipes and then all of a sudden show up.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I do. You find, especially in London, like wider and wider variety of food places are opening. Places from countries that you wouldn't necessarily think of. I mean, I think I walked past a Lebanese restaurant the other day when we were last in London. seeing a play, and yeah, it's I think Frozen. I think it was, and yeah, there's all kinds of things. I remember we went just after Christmas. We went up to I can't remember why now, but we went up to something in London. I was the science fiction exhibition at the Science Museum. That's the last time we were in London, and yeah, I went past this Lebanese restaurant, and so you just get more and more different things cropping up. How authentic they are, as you say, Kevin, I don't actually know. I don't know if these are sort of Lebanese people that have decided, decided to join in and setting up their own eatery, or if it's people that have, Googled a few Lebanese recipes and put a sign together and busy doing that, trying to pull flatbread over our eyes.
Right. Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing because, I mean, I think, with Indian food, for example, they had to make a curry that was a lot less, spicy and everything for the English palate. But do you have Taco Bell? Do you have Taco Bell? Oh, okay.
Not up here, we don't.
One or two have only recently appeared down this way.
Yeah, because Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell are owned by the same group, like food group, and I was just interested to see whether you had that because maybe that's what it is. But interestingly enough, Taco Bell was voted America's favorite Mexican restaurant, if you could believe that.
I don't know if they quite qualify as a restaurant.
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. That was horrific. I heard that and I was horrified by that whole idea. But anyway, yeah. No, try new things definitely. I think that would be definitely one of those cuisines that would catch on. I think it's not too it's actually pretty good. So how are you? I mean, Tom, no, Richard. I mean, the thing that I would say about you, you're very close to the people just across the border there that would deep fry a frozen pizza. So I don't know what kind of actual cuisine that you're exposed to there. Probably a lot of seafood, eh?
Actually, around here, it's burgers and chips, pretty much.
Really?
Surf and turf.
Surf and turf. There you are. Surf and turf. Cod and burgers.
We're a long way from Scotland, and it's Scotland that things like deep fried Mars bars are notorious. But there was a place that would do it very near to us in Gillingham, halfway between here and London, and there was this place near a school I worked in years ago. They did these deep fried Mars bars, and every once in a while I'd have one, and you knew you were eating just something absolutely terrible for you, but probably clogging up your arteries like a turd stuck around the U-bend, and it was. But I still did let myself have one of those about once every 6 months.
Well, was it delicious? That's all. That's what we want to know. Was it
not
delicious?
Nice enough? Something
no,
would need to be bloody delicious, really, to justify its existence, and I don't know if it quite did that.
Well, I know on EastEnders wasn't that the idea on EastEnders? We'll deep fry anything for a couple of quid, and in the fish and chip shop.
Yeah, they did that a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
What sort of things were people asking to be cooked?
Bananas.
I could see that working.
I remember when I worked for Weatherspoons and we first started doing hand-battered fish and chips, me and the guy I worked with got a bunch of chocolate bars and deep fried everything we could.
What were the results like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
What's say? There's a place in America that will deep fry a burger for you. So you get a burger and then you cook it all the way through, and then you deep fry it, and then apparently, I suppose it matters how hot the oil is, because if your oil's not to temperature, I would imagine that it would just become soggy mess. I mean, it seems to me like you know, that would be an art. You know, it's not a science; it's an art. Deep
I mean,
frying
but
food.
what Americans think of doing is just ridiculous sometimes with food. I mean, it's like, you know, they'll get bacon and they'll deep fry it and cover it in maple syrup and batter and deep fry it again. Then turn it into a dessert, and then they'll put it on top of pancakes, cover it in more maple syrup, a load of whipped cream, some hundreds and thousands. It would be enough to feed the 5,000, but it's for one person.
Right. Well, I mean, America
Okay,
has
first of all, bacon is a condiment, not a main food. Let's get that
bacon
one.
bacon is a condiment.
Bacon goes with everything. All right, bacon is a condiment.
Well, I know that. Have you ever had? Well, this would only work with like streaky bacon, not the type of bacon that you guys, you know, like you get, you know, that loin bacon. But I mean, with streaky bacon, you know, you can get a maple bar, like a donut with maple sugar topping, and then bacon bits on it. That's pretty popular in America, like a bagel donut. A bacon donut, yeah.
It's a bacon donut. Oh, I've heard it all now.
Yeah. I mean, people
And I
love
bet
them.
that's deep fried. I bet they get a finished donut that would be absolutely perfectly delicious on its own, and they deep fry that again, and then
No,
that
no, they don't. They don't. I mean, you know, like I said, it's you know, the thing about it is, and I will say this sort of maple whipped thing. You have to go to like a bespoke, like high end, you know, donut shop or cupcake place. High end bakers that do it. You know what I mean? You're not getting really good donut. I mean, you know, that's a thing where it's you're going there for the destination of eating this thing. You're not, it's not at your local shop where you're just going in and grabbing a donut and having that with your coffee. There's a lot of bespoke type restaurants like that, and in very affluent neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Very affluent neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know if you get this sort of boutique experience. I mean, there's a place in Newton Arden where, you know, and it's got a really bespoke bakery place, and that's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like back in the old days when you used to go past, you know, shops and see, you know, like big cakes and all that in the window. You know what I mean? You don't see that very much anymore. You know?
No, you don't. Not the old style bakery. There's an old style butcher's in the nearest town, and I go there a lot because the meat is quality. But
Yeah.
you don't see baking shops like that anymore.
Yeah, where they used to hang. I mean, you know, that's the thing. I remember, and that was one of the things where, you know, I was at the tail end of it, but you know, in the 70s, you could still. I mean, you could do all your messages on the high street. You know what I mean? You went into the butcher, you went into the baker, and you know, you got a lot, and then you went to the greengrocer, and that was it. You know what I mean? It was just bam, 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 bam. It was actually, in a way, more convenient with a big shopping center, in my opinion. But maybe, you know, putting it all under one roof and then cutting the prices down and everything like that, because you were, you know, but you know, it's an old way versus a new way. But I think it was kind of interesting that in a lot of shops you had to go in and ask for the food, you know, and you were served the food, you know, served it, and that really cut down a lot on theft. But you know, it's six of one half a dozen of the other.
well, everything's designed to speed up and be more efficient, or and get you to spend more. Because if it's less of a faff to get things, if you can go around with a basket and take the things off your shelves that you want, rather than asking for every single item from over the counter, which is how it used to be,
Right.
then it speeds it up. It's more efficient, more money, and more money changes hands more quickly. more, people will be more inclined to go to the shops if it's quicker, easier, and more convenient. And that's the theory behind self checkouts, which leads us quite nicely into our topic for the week: things that fail. And definitely top of my list in 3 big black words: self checkouts. They are an absolute waste of time and an infuriating catastrophe. If I ever wanted to be beaten up, if I wanted to end
You
it
need a
all,
buzzer or something.
all I,
'Cause I strongly disagree, but continue.
well, okay, I'll make my case, and I can make my case with 6 words, I believe it is. If I wanted to end everything, all I would need to do would be to go out into the public wearing a t-shirt saying "unexpected item in the bagging area." If I did that, I would expect the first person that saw me to put me out of my misery and spare the world my existence. I'd expect them to whack me in the knees with their walking stick and have me groveling and begging for mercy.
What?
I think I have to. I tend to agree with Tom on this one.
What?
I tend to agree with it because, to be honest with you, how much does one of those machines cost, in essence, and how it does not seem to me like it speeds up your experience. It just seems to me like at that point in time, you're going through another, that at that point in time, they take, checkers off the stand. I mean, and I understand, okay, checkers in Britain, I'd have to say, and Ireland are the most sort of disinterested people in the world. They don't smile at you, don't say anything. They just sort of just check the thing out. So in a way, they act like robots in a way. But the whole idea of trying to go into the thing and then trying to figure out exactly how it works and where all the bits go and everything like that, it is less inviting for somebody who, for example, like me, I have a site issue. And so I've used the instant checkout in America. I've used it in Britain. The thing that I find out about it is that they end up, having people look over your shoulders while you're checking out in America now, because people will put in that, they'll get a 12 donuts and then act like they're checking out for, an apple. And so there's a lot of theft through that now.
But but that's when you actually do have an unexpected item in the bagging area.
Yeah. But
So
What is this unexpected item in the bagging area?
Don't tell me you've never heard it.
You
Come
put
on.
you
Pull
put
the
something
other
on the scale. You put something on the because that part where the bag goes, not the scanner part is a scale, and then they also put a scale under the bagging location part.
That's right.
And so if you put something down that's not supposed to be the right, because they weigh everything, and if you put something down in that area that doesn't weigh exactly the same or whatever, then it causes a problem. Then somebody's got to come over and check. You put their code in, and then put everything in. And it's like Tom says, it does not seem to make it easier. Now, if you've got items that are pre-packaged and weighed and have a barcode, then it actually works pretty good. But if you're going in there trying to get fruits, vegetables, fresh meat, it's a terrible thing.
That's right. They will have a range that they estimate things in, and you put stuff down on the scales, and it says unexpected item in the bagging area. And that's when I normally start chucking stuff on top of it, like to see if it thinks it's too low, I'll sometimes chuck my wallet on top of the bananas or my phone and hope for the best and see what happens. And that's when somebody comes up to you and it flashes a light above your checkout telling everyone that you've somehow managed to cock it up, and then the attendant walks over to you, you pick up your phone and your wallet, and they give you a look to say, "Oh, that's why there's an unexpected item. Miss, you put your phone down there, didn't you?" And you're like, "No, it did it first." And
So,
Yeah, whole
so
experience.
let me get this straight. You're using the self checkout. You're putting your phone on the scales, and you keep getting this unexpected item in bagging.
No, it does that
Because I've been
first.
using self checkout since they came out,
Do
and
that
I have never had any problems with it. I go straight to it, beep on the scale, beep on the scale, beep on the scale, finish and pay. That's it. Well, I've got into trouble once because I never pay for bags because I refuse to on general principle, and sometimes they catch you doing that. But that's the only time that I ever have any problems with it.
You're a 5p a bag bandit.
In which case, Richard,
I refuse to pay it because it's a bullshit tax they just invented, and I'm not participating.
Well, all I can say, Richard, is if apologies for the slightly over the top way in which I said that, you know, if I wanted to end it all, not really a joking matter that is. So I'll take that back. But if this is the first night, Richard, when you have heard the dreaded phrase, unexpected item in the bagging area, then you have no idea how lucky and blessed you are, because it is absolutely infuriating. It's the equivalent to my ears of what of in the Battle of Stalingrad in February 1943, you know, when the German army was on its absolute death throes, the sound of they used to broadcast all kinds of crap from their speakers, loads and all kinds of Russian music and really negative propaganda. The Russians would blast that out of these massive, great speakers at the German defensive positions, frozen and starving. And that's those words, unexpected item in the bagging area, are to my ears what the Russian army's speaker blarings were to the Wehrmacht.
Yes, comrade. Okay. There is unexpected bag in bagging area.
Okay. Just so for everyone's edification, Tom just compared a self-checkout machine to the Battle of Stalingrad.
But I will say this: there are, if you want to end it all, and I know personally some people that have had their life ended by putting a shopping bag over their head. So anyway, and nobody paid 5p for it either.
Yeah, I am not paying the bag tax. I refuse, and sometimes they catch you, and you get in a little trouble for that. But that's the only trouble I've ever had with a self checkout. And the
that actually brings up that actually brings up the idea of a second fail. So Tom's idea was the first fail. The second fail is that 5p. What do you guys pay 5p a bag?
I don't pay anything for bags.
No, but
I agree.
What are you supposed to pay?
It's 5p a bag.
Yeah,
I agree. Charging for plastic bags is absolute crap. It's just it's the people that use most of the plastic are companies. This is carrier bags are absolutely a drop in the ocean in our economy's use of plastic, and it is absolute bullshit. And that was called out when this charge, or this compulsory charge or tax, or whatever you want to call it, when that came out, it was called out in the news at the time for exactly that, for people for it totally passing the buck to consumers, when the big companies are the worst offenders by far.
Well, I think it's interesting because that was one of the things that actually migrated this way, or to the west, because I remember. So you guys got it, then Ireland got it, then now America has it. So you have to pay for a bag. How many bags did you take? And then they charge you 5p and all that stuff for it.
Yeah, no, it ain't happening. No, I'm refused point blank to pay for a bag. The CEO of Sainsbury's gets paid 3.8 million. Take it out of his ridiculous paycheck if it's so important that someone pays for bags.
Well, all you see now is people like with big handfuls of they'll refuse to do it, and then they won't give them the bag, and then next thing you know, people are walking out with 3 jugs of milk in one arm and bananas and things and falling out.
That was the other tipping point, when they refused to let you bring your own bags into the store. Was it. I was like,
is that true now? You can't bring your own bag in? Sure,
Yeah.
Tesco's, don't they sell
No,
you
no.
bags?
Who does that? Seriously?
Sainsbury's does that. I went in there with Morrison's bag for life. They were like, "No, you can't bring that in here." I was like, "Fuck you!" So I
That-
started stealing bags from them.
I wouldn't. I would not tolerate that. I'd
So-
say bring it- I remember-
Hashtag resist the bag tax.
So
all right?
that was just what does Sainsbury's not sell their own bag? Was it just
Yeah.
says-
Yeah, no, that's why they want you to buy their bags.
So they said you cannot bring a competitor's bag for life into here.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was it. Oh, that's just like Nazism, buddy.
that sounds literally. That sounds like the front page of the local rag. If I honestly think if you would be on that has all the hallmarks of being on the front page of what would be our Kentish Gazette, or something like that. Well, you can imagine shopper shopper not allowed to bring in his own bags for life.
Right.
That would be a local headline because
No, I
that is
just-
absolute
I
crap.
just nick their bags now. I don't pay for bags, and I nick the occasional Snickers bar.
Right.
Hashtag resist.
Well, all I'm saying is if they can make you not bring in a competitor's bag, it's almost like they could actually indict a president for crimes that he did in America. I mean, once they come for me, they're coming for you.
Anyway, so that ends that. What's the next thing that fails, Tom?
Okay, definitely that toilet paper from the 1980s. When you'd go into the public loo at your local park, or I think some primary schools had it, hospitals probably had it. That stuff that was absolutely categorically not absorbent. That stuff it was could be used as tracing paper. It was like grease-proof paper. That
Yes, yes,
it
yes.
smeared.
Yeah.
to perfection.
Terrible.
It's
Terrible.
absorbed miserably. Why did this stuff exist? A friend of mine told me the name of it. I need to just check back with that and find it. But oh man, that stuff was sorry. That stuff was really, really sorry.
I think to be honest with you, Tom, I think that came out in the Second World War because they were trying to save materials for other projects. And so that's what I remember, because I remember asking my grandfather, like, why is that? I mean, basically it was like, imagine somebody having like wax paper. It was like wax paper from for bacon cut into squares. And all it did seriously was just cake your whole back of your legs and your arse with shite.
Oh no,
It was a war crime. Like, I genuinely think that someone should have been prosecuted for that shit.
well,
They had it in school. All of my schools had that shit. It must be cheap. Well, it wasn't even paper. It was like the shit that comes out after they finish making the paper. The pulp in the machine. That's what that stuff was.
That's a good name for a band. Pulp in the
Pulp
Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that actually. That's really cool.
I can't play any musical instruments, but
I find on Amazon this week an electric kazoo, and you plug it, and so it's an electric thing with a wee microphone on it, and then you just plug it into your little board, and it's awesome. It's not that expensive, but everybody can pay the kazoo. But listen, mate, I just got a call. I just got a text here. It's kind of an emergency. I'm gonna take off early today, so I'm gonna say goodbye, everybody.
Okay, whatever it is.
Okay, sorry about. No, it's
be well,
not,
mate.
Yeah, it's just
no worries.
My book "Shitting Around the World" is probably apropos in this case. All right, mate. See you later.
Yeah.
And then there were two.
That's strange. All right. Well, that brings me on to my first things that fail complaint. Electric bikes. Why? The whole point of having a bike is to get some bloody exercise. What is the absolute point in getting a powered motorized bicycle and to wear Lycra while you use it, as I've seen people do. Who are you kidding? Seriously. Who are you actually kidding? You hipster fetid douchebag.
Yeah, you're right. It is a total contradiction in terms. That leads neatly into one of my major complaints of our modern world: smart scooters. Smart scooters. Why? Why? You could be getting exercise. You could be going under control at a sensible pace, but no. Instead, we're going to burn more greenhouse gases, use them to charge up the batteries every night on these bloody things, and then bomb it round at ridiculous speeds, often with no crash helmet, diving in and out of people like you were thinking they're a flipping Formula One driver. You need no qualifications for this thing. They're illegal most of the time, but it's not enforced. Presumably because the police are like, oh, here's another thing that we have to do, is it? Oh, yeah, great. Well, wish us luck with that then. There just aren't the resources. And it's... I had a smart scooter whiz past me like mere inches from me, and I was like, I turned around and I shouted back at the bloke, "You shouldn't be doing that." To which he yelped back, "Yeah, but I done it now, innit?" So
I bet it sounds exactly like that as well.
It did.
Bro, done it.
He had absolutely this kid had absolutely no sense of social responsibility.
While we're on the subject of motorized things that piss me off, segways. Let me tell you what a Segway is. A Segway is the ultimate pretentious douchebag accessory. If you're the kind of person that drinks beers out of jam jars, wears a beanie, has a trendy beard, then you should ride a Segway, because there's no better way to explain to the universe I am a dickhead than to be seen on a Segway.
Do you remember when that one was filming at the Olympics and it crashed into Usain Bolt? It did. It was a fail that went viral. It was. I can't remember which Olympic Games it was. It might have been Rio. It might have been the one after. I'm not sure. I think it was Rio 2016. I'm not sure. Yeah, this thing crashed into it. Yeah, it must have been. If it was indeed the Olympic Games, it could have been some other sprinting event. But
someone just randomly drove a Segway into Usain Bolt.
Well, he was walking. He was going along without staring into this camera, without looking where he was going at all, and he bumped into some cabling. The whole thing tipped up and went arse over tit, smacked into the back of Usain Bolt, who also went arse over tit, and. Oh, it was funny. Oh, it was special.
But that's definitely on my list of things that fail. What else you got?
Okay, I'm going to go to films for a moment. RoboCop 3. Oh my god! If you haven't seen it, Richard, I envy you. Oh, is
that the one where he gets a jetpack?
I'm not sure. Thankfully, it's been too long ago. It's the one with the splatterpunks. These.
Oh, yeah, it is the one where he gets a jetpack, and they changed the actor for RoboCop, and it's just awful.
It is truly shockingly poor. Pirates of the Caribbean 3. Ow! If I had
anything after Pirates of the Caribbean 2.
Well, I mean, it just was so shockingly poor. I decided I would have left the cinema. I'd already wasted my money. I didn't want to waste my time as well, and I would have left, but I wasn't on my own. I was with my mate James, and I just remember sitting there like in absolute snoozeville while these two ships endlessly circled this whirlpool without seemingly getting any deeper into it, and putting all of us out of our misery by actually crashing and sinking these bloody ships. Oh no, it was excruciating. But there's a special place in my heart for just how shockingly terrible the first 10 minutes of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen are. That is absolute celluloid crime. I mean, I've thought about
I
this.
just think Michael Bay should be deported and never allowed back into America. He is a talentless hack that just put some CGI explosions in. We don't need a plot. We just need CGI everywhere.
I
Boom,
know
boom, boom.
it is terrible. I thoroughly recommend Mark Kermode, British film reviewer. I thoroughly recommend Mark Kermode's reviews of his reviews of things like any of the Transformers films. They're all on YouTube and they're special. Let me list everything that's wrong with the first 10 minutes of Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen. Firstly, very early on, Ice Cream Van rolls into view that says Decepticons suck my popsicle, which is when it is a children's film. Then you have the dialogue. These are creations from outer space, and you'd expect them to be able to say something a little bit more sophisticated than "damn, I'm good. What's wrong with you?" and "punk-ass Decepticons." But that is the full limit of their imagination, and also, incidentally, Michael Bay's. You also have nothing. The CGI explosions, absolutely nothing looks like it has any weight. Nothing. When it looks like an unconvincing computer game, you don't feel that buildings are blowing up at all. It's like a hologram. It doesn't carry. And when these Transformers are moving, you can't really see what's happening. It's not tangible. It's like a glitch in the Matrix. It just does not look real. There's this ridiculous thing where Optimus Prime joins the fight, where Bay has decided in his infinite wisdom that he's going to enter Optimus Prime goes thus. There's a massive plane above the battle scene. It drops its cargo bay. Out rolls Optimus Prime in truck mode. He transforms into a robot in midair, while the camera spins around at such a rate you cannot see anything. It's like watching a close up of a bottle full of nails being rattled around. I mean, it's just metallic mess in front of your eyes. It's not, and then he turns into a robot in midair, launches a parachute, drifts down, and just before the ground, turns back into a truck and drives down the road. And then, lastly, the icing on the cake is then when the two Transformers turn up to this Decepticon that is beaten, defeated, powerless. There's very much an atmosphere of bullying about it as the Autobots end the life of this punk-ass Decepticon. It doesn't feel like the good guys are beating the bad at all in this. This Decepticon's face actually invokes sympathy, which is quite an achievement, because at no point does any other thing in the film evoke any emotion at all, other than "what the hell are you doing to my eyes and ears?" I mean, but the biggest failure about that is that it made a lot of money at the box office and spawns Michael, but people go to see it. People pay money for this. And that's just a failure of the human race, because I mean, this is all very opinionated for me. I don't normally speak like this, but there's the first 10 minutes of Transformers.
No, he's a hack. Michael Bay is a hack. I've been championing this for years. He only knows how to do two things: CGI explosions and exploit Megan Fox. Those are the only two things he ever did.
Well, the film is littered with that. It's really leery camera shots at her backside.
The first time you see her, she's fucking half naked, spread over a motorcycle like a porn star. It's ridiculous. In that film, it's ridiculous.
It's and this is a film that's essentially aimed at children.
Yeah,
or a lot of children would see it. It's morally wrong. So yeah, I mean, the point at which a film reaches morally wrong, you're in new territory than just bad. It is offensive. Speaking of offensive films, Sex and the City 2.
Do you know what? I've never seen it.
Mate. I would actually say that you should, just because you won't believe it exists.
I'm quite fortunate that I've never had a girlfriend that's made me watch that. So, I'm just going to say something that cheered me up before you carry on. Gabby just sent me a photo that says Segway company owner rides Segway off cliff and dies.
Oh,
So, I'm, karma. Sorry, continue.
that was the word that was in my mind. So, Sex and the City 2. I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be plugging someone so much, but the one redeeming feature for Sex and the City 2, its one saving grace, is that it gave us Mark Kermode's review of it, which is my single favorite YouTube video of all time. It's an absolute masterclass in justified vitriol and righteous indignation. Oh, it's a masterpiece. It's everything the film isn't. Sharp, witty, creative, sensible, responsible, respectful. Well, to the people that matter, which is everyone who wasn't responsible for that film. Oh God, it does think. I'll just tell you one moment from it, and then we'll move on. One moment from the film, and I couldn't. I thought, wait, did I just really see that? The character Charlotte is in the kitchen doing some stuff, and her daughter is playing around with paint, and she puts her hands in the paint and puts it on her skirt, and she says, "What are you doing? These are vintage. Look at what you've done!" and screams at her kid, and her kid bursts into tears, and then she bundles into a cupboard and retreats. And then when she opens the door, what you're expecting to happen is the good thing, the right thing, the decent thing. Oh, mummy's sorry. Mummy knows she shouldn't have worn such an expensive dress around your painting. I'm sorry, mummy. Go on, give me a kiss. Let's be friends again. And for her to take a bit of responsibility and for everything to be all right. But no, that's not what happens. When she disappears into the closet, bursts into tears. And when she opens the door, she sees that the nanny is dealing with her daughter, so she doesn't have to. And then there's a little bit of a narration which implies, so this nanny is worth keeping after all. Earlier, seeds of doubt was shown because her husband was bathing their daughter with the nanny, and Charlotte happened to notice that the nanny was not wearing a bra, and everything was a little bit wibbly wobbly under the top. The husband didn't notice because, as he should have been, the husband and the nanny were totally focused on the little girl and giving her a good time and having fun and playing with her in the bath. And this act of generosity later on was what spared Charlotte the brutality of having to spend time with this daughter that had dared to sacrilege her vintage dress. I mean, when that happens, when it opens the door and she just breathes this sigh of relief that the nanny's come to her rescue and saved her from her daughter for a few minutes. I mean, as every parent needs a break, yes, we do, but not because we've just shouted at them when we've worn a very expensive dress around them and paint when they are about 2 years or 3 years old. Maybe 4 or 5, but it doesn't matter. It's just, you're just like, what, did that really happen? And that is just one of many "Are you kidding me?" moments in Sex and the City 2. It's really special. Richard, don't bother watching it. Watch the Mark Kermode review. I'll ping it to you later.
Okay. Well, I've no desire to watch either Sex and the City movies. I've never watched a TV show. I've never seen anything. But while we're talking about things that fail, Red Dwarf Back to Earth.
Yes, that was when they went to Coronation Street, didn't they?
Yeah. They went to Coronation Street. They ripped off Blade Runner, so you only got half the jokes if you'd seen Blade Runner, and even if you'd seen Blade Runner, it still wasn't that funny.
Oh, it really is. It is really poor. The season after it, season 10, was marginally better. 11 and 12, I thought were really getting back on track.
Yeah, Skipper was really good. Lemons from season 10 was really good.
What one from season 10?
Lemons.
I might need to rewatch that then. I might do it after the show. So I'm now going to just reel off a list. I've got a list of about 30 fails as nominated by my wonderful some wonderful friends whom I asked, what do you think fails? Here's the list. I'm just going to read it out in one without really pausing, because if I stop for one, I'll stop for loads and we'll be here all bloody night. Computers, bras, printers, they smell your fear. The sticky bit on post-it notes, blue tack, especially, I might add, cheap imitations such as white tack. Do not do what they say on the packet. Sticky back plastic. That glue that you had at primary school with a sponge at the end that's meant to spread it all around and just doesn't, just no. Then we have, one person, and this will be controversial with you, Richard, nominated Aaron A. Aardvark and any other handyman that puts themselves first in the phone directory to try and get chosen first and is absolutely crap at what they do.
Fair enough.
The government, the first past the post electoral system, which gives parties like the Green Party no chance to break in when actually a lot of people might vote for them, starting with your very own vegan hipster douche. Then cheap shoes, always a false economy. Shoe repair glue, most glue, in fact. Those swirly things on vending machines that turn 360 degrees and supposedly dispense a sweet, except they don't. It hangs there at the top and you have to kick in the machine until it sets off an alarm and you're the one who gets in trouble. McDonald's ice cream machines, peel off lids that do not do what they say on the lid. They do not peel off and you end up just stabbing at them with a knife repeatedly and making a right ruddy mess. The claw robot, those claw games at the motorway services that you can put pounds and pounds and pounds in. Squidward spent his entire life saving.
Hey, I'm really good at those. I've won a bunch of ones.
Oh, you're not one of those. Oh, you're telling me you're not.
One of those. Well, I am really good at the claw game.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're done. Kevin's checked out. I'm off next. You're on your own. You can see the last 13 minutes out on your own. No, I was going to say my friend Rosie is brilliant at those as well, and every once in a while you meet someone who is really, really good at them and makes it work for them. But most of us pitiful minions end up just despairing, often with screaming children insisting you put in your 15th £1 coin to try and get them a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle that would have cost you 13 quid on eBay. But no, you wouldn't cut your losses when you had spent £8. You insisted you'd get it on the next 5 and you haven't, and now you're just being stubborn and spending more and more money.
That's a sunk cost fallacy. Don't fall into that trap.
Well, I just made all that up on the spot. What was the fallacy?
The sunk cost. Oh, fuck. The sunk cost fallacy. Just because you've invested a lot of time and money into something doesn't necessarily mean it's worth sinking more.
Oh God, I know. Speaking of sinking, I know some friends of mine tried to invest in a bloody boat. They bought this fishing boat and thought it would earn them a load of money, and it just wasn't. It was always needing repairs that they were having to fork out for. They remortgaged the house to keep this bloody thing going. It never started to make money. It was, and by the time they'd cut all their losses, I think they'd lost about £30,000.
Yeah, see, that's what gamblers do. They're like, oh, I invested this much money into it. I should keep going so I can get my money back. No, you're going to know when to fold. Cut your losses.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladder-proof, carrying on with the list, ladder-proof tights. Idiot or foolproof anything, because it always isn't. It would help if I could read my own writing, because some of the time I can't.
As always, various industries underestimate idiots.
Yeah. Oh, they really do, starting with me. Rubbers on the top of pencils, they just break off. Trickle-down economics. Yeah, nice try, posh gits. Cats when they want you to brush them and then bite you when you start doing it. The NHS, despite its want of trying. US medical insurance, despite everything people have tried to do about it. US gun control. Nikki and Kevin aren't here. No one can argue back. Nail glue.
Yeah, whoa. We're not touching that. All right?
What, US gun control?
We're not touching that. We're fully in favor of America having as many guns or as little guns as they want.
We are?
Yeah, you don't want to fucking mess with those Second Amendment lunatics. All right? No, it's your right to bear arms. You guys are great. Keep going, Tom.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to fall down that rabbit hole. That's one for a... That is, well, quite honestly, that is definitely a bigger topic for another night. Nail glue, homebrew siphons,
wow,
garden
there is
gear.
A lot of glue on this list. What's your deal with glue?
It's not. Well, this is my friends nominated these, and I really wanted to give them a shout out. The what? Yeah, agreed. Well, hang on. We're going to get to Care Bear. We're going to get to some of your stuff in a minute. I definitely wanted to save some time for people's comments. Okay. Any garden gear bought from Wilkinson's.
Agreed.
I think you get what you pay for, and if you pay $2.99 for a saw, it will last that many seconds. Vegan cheese. And I mean, I'm sorry, God, but just no.
Anything vegan.
No, wrong. Some stuff is accidentally vegan and absolutely bloody delicious. Greg's Donuts, Sainsbury's Donuts, they're accidentally vegan, and game on, they're bloody nice.
How can you have a vegan donut? It's got milk in it.
Not if you buy it from Sainsbury's or Greg's.
Fucking hell. I've had vegan donuts. I'm going to have to sue them now.
Are you going to take a sink plunger to your mouth now and try and...
No, I'm just going to begin a lawsuit against them. How dare you?
How dare you're going to do that with everyone? Are you going to do that with cornflakes or Weetabix or something? Should they declare?
You have cornflakes and Weetabix with milk, so no.
Okay, fair enough. You win. But honestly, Richard, just trust me. Stay away from vegan cheese. If it's melted, it's sometimes not too bad at all.
Vegan cheese it's one of those things like vegan sausages or vegan bacon or vegan steaks. The whole point of being vegan is you don't eat meat. Stop fucking copying me and just eat a fucking steak.
Oi, you told me your very self that there was absolutely nothing wrong with Richmond vegan sausages.
Yeah, well, I have them with normal sausages to make up for it.
Well, I bet you couldn't tell the difference.
Nice. Still abominations against God, but still nice.
Then there's but honestly, vegan cheese is just horrible stuff. It's basically made with coconut oil. I mean, if you melt it, it's tolerable and passable, but overall, it's better than that. It's actually not too bad at all if it's melted. It's a little bit above average. But when it's raw or cold, it just doesn't work for me at all. I would just rather not have it in anything I was eating than cold vegan cheese. Oh, I tell you where in the food industry, whatever it is they've got going with vegan cheese works. Papa John's pizza with their vegan alternative cheese is absolutely delicious. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
That's because there's no such thing as a bad Papa John's pizza. All right, that's the reason for that.
Oh, come on. Are you actually saying that even their vegan pizza is tolerable?
I've never had it, but I'm sure it would be.
Sorry. You've caused me some panic.
Papa John's are just incapable of making a bad pizza. That's just all it is. Okay, in fact, you know what? Next time I go to Papa John's, I'll have the vegan pizza.
Okay. Well, I'll go for it. Let me know how you do. You know what? I'll bloody pay for it.
Just, I'll try it because I don't think Papa John's can make a bad pizza.
Well,
and I've tried all of their dodgy pizzas, including the pulled pork one. Who puts pulled pork on a pizza? Sociopaths, that's who. But it's still nice.
No, someone who likes alliteration. That's who.
Pulled pork pizza. Yeah, that is some good alliteration.
Game on. So I've only got two more things to add. One, the Napalm Death album, From Enslavement to Obliteration. I bought this on
fuck?
I bought it on cassette when I was in I bought it on cassette when I was in a record fair once, and I played this, and the title track is the first tune on the second side. And I mean, Jack White tries to produce music this badly, and he comes nowhere close. That same pile of nails that rattles around inside a bottle which Michael Bay calls his wonderful CGI work. If you got those same nails and poured them into a metal dustbin, put a lid in it and rattled it around like hell and recorded that with a 1970s dictaphone, that's the level of production of the drumming on Napalm Deaths, from Enslavement to Obliteration. But worse than the drumming is the songwriting, if you can call it a song at all. It's grindcore. It's deliberately very aggressive post-punk distorted metal, but it is actually just an absolute noise. It is an absolute racket, and it's atrocious. I would suggest we stream it from YouTube now, but I honestly, I have far more respect for your ears than for broadening the mind within them to whatever extent hearing that song would do.
I'm going to listen to it after the show, just for curiosity's sake. Also, Gabby, if you put coleslaw on anything, it's a treat. Coleslaw is one of the best condiments known to man.
Oh, no, honestly, from Enslavement to Obliteration, the first 30 seconds is remotely palatable, but from the moment Lee Dorian starts doing something that I think most people generally call singing, when that happens, it fails. It just fails. And it's
I'm going to listen to it.
Sorry?
I'm going to listen to it because
we'll both listen to it at the end of the show. It'd be quite funny. Then the last thing is, and I don't actually want to talk about all this. This is again a big topic for another show. The biggest fail of our age is arguably humanity's attempts to combat climate change. Topical. Oh, honestly.
Take that, Republicans.
We are hopeless. As a species, we're hopeless, and we're bringing about our own downfall, I think. But anyway, I think we should get to some of Gabby's points in the... before we end the show, I think we should get to some of Gabby's points. Gabby, you have our full attention. Oh, what? I'm not... She's calling me boring again. Gabby, you meanie.
Well, she's not wrong. Let's be fair. But
Gabby wants the world to know, and the closest we can do is our audience. That she was in a tornado on Tuesday. Yes, she was. There was a mini tornado that came by near Gabby's neighborhood, uprooted several trees. Gabby was trying to help pull some of these branches out of the ground that had literally been impaled into the turf. And she maintains that it was not at all a philanthropic act because she was only doing it to find out the goss from the neighbors. But I still think it was very nice of her to stop by and help people out who when she didn't have to. So yeah, Gabby, you are nice whether you like it or not. And yeah, let's have a look at some of the things that she's mentioned as some of her epic fails. Hoverboards. No helmet, no problem with scooters and segways. Well, no, thank you. I think we do much as we wouldn't wish death upon these people. Much as they might tempt us to do so with their recklessness for the safety of themselves and others. And let me think, what else has Gabby been up to?
Usual Gabby stuff.
Well, she agrees with you that vegans, pizza may be tolerable, but vegans that buy it surely aren't. Well, aren't you and Gabby a match made in heaven then, Richard? Despising us vegans actually trying to do something to lower our carbon footprint. But hey, what do we know?
Oh, you see, that's why I don't like vegans. I'm just better than you. I'm doing everything I can. I'm a legend and you're nothing. It's because it's pretentious head wank. You don't know what I'm doing to lower my carbon footprint.
Well, no, I don't. What are you doing to lower your carbon footprint?
Eating all the cows that produce carbon.
Oh, so by eating these cows with their flatulent methane, or methane-filled flatulence, whichever way you look at it, by eating them, you're doing the world a favor by stopping them farting. But
Exactly.
you're ignoring the fact that you're promoting the entire industry, and that if you weren't eating them, those cows wouldn't be there to fart at all.
All right. Let's say you win. All right. Let's say they shut down all the abattoirs. What are we to do with all those cows, chicken, and sheep?
Oh, meat eaters say this to me all the time, and it's a fair enough question. But I think realistically, the industry would gradually wind down, so there would be more and more of these things. I mean, I think that more and more vegan sausages and stuff in supermarkets, less and less meat stuff, and as digital music has supplanted the CD, vegan foods could. Well, I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will. Besides, people don't necessarily need to eat no meat, but eating just a bit less sometimes will reduce people's carbon footprints hugely. So anyone who says to me they eat less meat, I do not see them as a cop out or someone who won't go the whole hog. Pardon the irony. No, I think that's great. Every little bit helps, and you can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. And people who choose to eat less meat are being part of the solution. So, I don't see myself as being on a moral high horse. I've certainly
literally just acted like someone on a moral high horse. Oh, you're part of the problem. Oh, I'm part of the solution.
Well, for all I know, Richard, you are part of the solution.
I am not. Definitely part of the problem. I still use aerosol deodorants.
Don't even want to be.
The sooner climate change happens, the sooner humanity is wiped out and the next species can have a shot. All right? I'm doing my bit to help Mother Nature in my own way.
Well, I hope they do a better job than us, if that's the case.
Makes you wonder. Anyway, that'll wrap us up for this week. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many, where we will be discussing successes in conservation.
Okay, sounds good to me.
A topic near and dear to my heart. All right, see you next week. See ya.
Wonderful. Cheers, everybody. Good night.